Hi there, I'm Desiree, and this is day 2 of Brain Awareness Week. Today we're going to be talking about the benefits and the importance of learning and of challenging your brain. But before I get started, I thought I'd tell you a quick story about me. You see, my husband is Spanish, and about 2 years ago we moved with our 2 small children to his hometown on the Mediterranean coast of Spain, about 100 kilometers south of Valencia. Here, people routinely speak 2 languages, Spanish and Catalan, and when I arrived I didn't speak either. But learning one of the languages wasn't really an option, so I've been fully immersed in trying to learn 2 languages at once for the last 2 years. Now, that Mediterranean stereotype of people sitting around having a long, slow lunch outside, that's pretty standard here. And I have to say, for the first year or so, that was a pretty painful experience for me. I could either eat my lunch, or I could understand what was going on, but I didn't seem to be able to do both at once. And I have to say, it was exhausting. I'd get home and my brain would be shattered. Fortunately, it turns out that all this hard work is really beneficial for my brain health. Now, the bottom line for maintaining a healthy, resilient brain, a brain that can withstand some of those bumps and bruises, is that we need to nurture our neural connections. And we need to grow as many new ones as we can. Now, it turns out that a great way to do this is to expose ourselves to new learning and to novel experiences. So why don't you come with me and I'll show you a little bit more about where I live and we can talk some more. Well, they say that the first 1,000 days of a child's life are incredibly important, but our learning by no means stops there. The richer the experiences that our brains are exposed to throughout our lives, the better it is for our brain's performance and for its resilience. Take your schooling, for example. It appears that our education can help safeguard our brains against dementia. A 2017 study showed that our risks of Alzheimer's disease decrease with every year of formal education that we complete. It seems that education future-proofs our brain. Challenging work environments, jobs that require constant decision-making, problem-solving and other brain-heavy tasks also appear to keep our brains sharper for longer and decrease our risks of suffering from brain disease such as Alzheimer's or dementia in later life. The thinking is that by engaging and challenging our brains daily, we build up a reserve of healthy neurons and neural connectivity. Moreover, our education and experience teaches us how to be flexible in our thinking, such that if or when our brains suffer from damage or degeneration, when we hit a roadblock, we have enough other neurons or neural pathways to take over. You might be thinking that you didn't finish high school or that your work was not particularly challenging. Well, that's okay. What really matters is how well you choose to engage your brain in your day-to-day lives going forward. In one famous study, known as the Religious Orders Study, researchers followed about 800 nuns and priests, and they looked at, among other things, how often these folks took part in common cognitive activities, such as listening to the radio, reading a newspaper, or going to the museum. They rated their activity on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 was basically every day, 3 was several times a month, and 1 was once a year or less. And then they waited about 5 years and looked to see what happened. Did they develop dementia? Did their mental abilities decline as they aged? And what they showed was that the more these individuals engaged in everyday cognitively demanding tasks, the lower their risks of suffering from cognitive decline and of developing dementia. Indeed, for every 1 point on that 5-point scale, so if you were a 4 instead of a 3, that was associated with a 47% decrease in the risk of cognitive decline and a 33% reduction in the risk of Alzheimer's. Now, many studies have since supported these findings, and importantly, they all show that the more you do, the better the outcomes will be. The more complex mental activities that you engage in, and the more often that you do them, the greater the benefits for your brain functioning both now and into the future. So keep your brain active and challenge it constantly by engaging in activities that involve thinking and in-depth learning. Pick up a new hobby or max out on the one you already have. Handy with a camera, but avoided figuring out the editing or post-production side of things maybe? What about a new style of cooking? Why not immerse yourself in some new spices and see if you can master a few dishes? Read, and read some more. Learning a language or 2. Now, these hobbies and skills will boost your creativity, your mood, your vocabulary, and your self-esteem. Whatever you decide to take on, be sure to take note of the progress that you're making and reflect back on how far you've come. Remember, these are meant to become new lifestyle habits, part of your everyday. That means you've got to keep doing it, more or less every day. Now, tomorrow let's talk about something a little less challenging. Tomorrow we'll talk about the importance of sleep. I'll see you then.